Hello, grade 12. Welcome back to the channel, Science Therapy, hosted by the one and only science therapist, Abutewa Sos Ukwabela Wemets. And without any further ado, let's look at these questions that we have here. Okay, so we have question 7, still on acids and bases. It says two beakers A and B contain strong bases. Beaker A has 500 centimeter cube of barium hydroxide of unknown concentration X, and then beaker B has 400 centimeter cube of potassium hydroxide of concentration 0.1 mole per dm cube. So as we know, this one is the standard solution because this is a solution with a known concentration. Then 7.1 says define a base according to Arrhenius theory. So quickly on that one, we say a base is a substance that produces hydroxide ions, which is your OH minus, in water. Right, so there goes our definition for a base. We say a base is a substance that produces hydroxide ions in water. Right, now 7.2 says calculate the number of moles of hydroxide ions OH minus in beaker B. Right, so we know that when beaker B here is a solution, the potassium hydroxide there obviously dissociate into the hydroxide ions. And then since this is just a monoprotic base, then the ratio is just 1:1. So that means the number of moles of the potassium hydroxide is exactly the same as the number of moles of the hydroxide ions. And also as well, they have the same, so let's note that they have the same number of moles and then also the same concentration, right? And then obviously for the same constant volume. So that means in order to calculate the number of moles, we can just use the information here. We are given 400 centimeter cube of potassium hydroxide of concentration 0.1 mole per dm cube. So we can just say to calculate the number of moles of the hydroxide ions, the concentration, we're still going to use the same concentration, and then a number of moles. And then remember the volume is constant, that's 400 centimeter cube. But then remember we need to convert to dm cube by doing what? Dividing by 1000, right? So when we divide that by 1000, we get 0.4. Cross multiplying here, we have n is equals to 0.04 mole, right? So that means the number of moles of the potassium hydroxide is 0.04 mole, but also as well, the number of moles of the hydroxide ions it produces is still 0.04 mole, right? So I hope that makes sense. Okay, so we have 7.3. It says the contents of beakers A and B are added together in beaker C. The solution in beaker C has a pH of 13. So we are being told that the solution in here and then also the solution in here is taken and then put into beaker C, whereby now they become a mixture. But then now you have to understand if they are putting these ones together, they said assume that the volumes are additive, that the temperature of the solutions is 25 degrees Celsius. Right, now if they're additive, that means they increase in volume to 900 centimeter cube, right? Okay, now 7.3.1 says calculate the concentration X of the barium hydroxide in beaker A. So what we are trying to find is this here. They told us that barium hydroxide has an unknown concentration X, right? So, okay, from looking at this, we can tell that this is a reverse type of calculation, question, whereby we can see that we are given the pH and then we need to work from the pH all the way back to the initial concentration of the barium hydroxide, right? So let's work backwards. We have pH is equals to negative log concentration of hydroxide ions. Now this will give us the pH. We are given that it's 13. makes sense because they just combined two strong bases. So we expect our pH to be that great. Then we have negative log hydroxide ions. Now to apply our log rule, we know that we will end up with concentration of hydronium ions is 1 multiplied by 10 to the exponent of negative 13 mole per dm cube, right? Now you can just leave it as 10 to the exponent of negative 13. It's also correct. But note that if the pH is equals to 13, that means this mixture here is basic. This is a basic solution, right? Now, if this is a basic solution, that means it produces what? Hydroxide ions. So what we are most interested in here is to find the concentration of the hydroxide ions, not the hydronium ions. So we would find the concentration of the hydronium ions if this was acidic. But then it's basic. That means we have to find the concentration of the hydroxide ions. Now, to further calculate, we'll say the concentration of the hydronium ions multiplied by the concentration of the hydroxide ions is equals to 1 times 10 to the exponent of negative 14. So this appears in your formula sheet. It's a formula just like that. And then we have 1 times 10 to the exponent of negative 13 multiplied by the concentration of the hydroxide ions still equals to 1 times 10 to the exponent of negative 14. At this point, we understand that we have to divide both sides by this number here in order to get rid of it. 1 times 10 to the exponent of negative 13. Now, concentration of hydroxide ions is now 0.1 mole per dm cube. Now, also save this answer here because we will need it in the next question. So, okay, we have concentration, but then this is not the concentration we are calculating. This is not all we do for 8 marks. This is acids and bases, and you know we are in for a ride. Then, now that we have found the concentration of the hydroxide ions in what? In beaker C. It's important to note that this is in beaker C. But then in the previous question, we had calculated the number of moles in beaker B, and then we found 0.04 mole. You can just refer back to that question, 0.04 mole. Now, in order to get to beaker C, we do understand, into beaker A, meant to say, we do understand that we would need to find the number of moles in beaker C. Now, to calculate number of moles, now that we have concentration, it's simple. All we just do is put in our concentration here, and then number of moles over the volume in beaker C is 0.9. Now the 0.9, you understand it's from 500 plus 400. 900 centimeter divided by 1,000, that's 0.9. Now when you cross multiply, you have 0.09 mole. So these are the number of moles in beaker C, right? So it's very important that you follow through here in beaker C. Now, we know that beaker C, the contents in beaker C are as a result of beaker A and beaker B being added together. Now, if this is giving us 0.09 mole, but we have 0.04 mole here in beaker B, then what is the number of moles in beaker A? Pretty simple. To get the number of moles in beaker A, then I have to say number of moles in beaker C minus the number of moles in beaker B, right? Now, number of moles in beaker C 0.09 minus 0.04, right? Then this is equals to 0.05 mole. So now I have the number of moles in beaker A. Now you can say, now we can calculate the concentration. But the catch is this here is what we refer to as a diprotic base. Now you have heard of a diprotic acid, but then what is a diprotic base? If a diprotic acid is able to donate 2 protons, then a diprotic base is able to accept 2 protons. Now, how are we able to see that this is a diprotic base? Because it produces 2 hydroxide ions. So we have OH2, right? So that means the ratio of the barium hydroxide to the ratio of the hydroxide ions it produces is 1:2. Now, what is the meaning of this? For every 1 molecule of barium hydroxide that reacts, 2 molecules of hydroxide ions are being produced, right? So note that. So every time we react this, 2 hydroxide ions will be produced. But then remember what we just found here, it's the number of moles of the hydroxide ions. It's very important to know that this is number of moles of the hydroxide ions, right? In what? In beaker A. It is not the number of moles of the barium hydroxide, right? Because remember, the 0.09 here was representing number of moles of hydroxide ions. Also, the 0.04 here, according to 7.2, was representing the number of moles of the hydroxide ions. So when we took this and subtracted this, we ended up with the number of moles of the hydroxide ions. Right. So now at this point, we need to understand that now we have the 0.05 here, but then we still want the number of moles of the barium hydroxide so that we can now calculate the concentration of the barium hydroxide. At this point, we cross multiply. This is 2x 0.05. We divide both sides by 2, 0.025 mole. And then that's when now we can calculate the concentration of the barium hydroxide, now that we have the exact number of moles of the barium hydroxide. So this will now be C is equals to N over V, right? Concentration is number of moles 0.25. The volume, we still use the same volume in beaker A, right? So because remember in beaker A, so that's 0.5. Now when you punch that into your calculator, you get a 0.05 mole per dm cube. And that becomes the concentration of the barium hydroxide in beaker A. So that's concentration X. That's how you were supposed to go about answering that question there, all for a total of 8 marks. So make sure that you play the video as many times as possible and just try to understand the approach that I took into solving that one. But the most important thing that you needed to discover is the fact that barium hydroxide here is what we refer to as a diprotic base. So this led you to these ratios here, right? So very, very important to note such things. Okay, let's now proceed. We have the solution in beaker C is titrated with ethanoic acid. It was found that 15 centimeter cube of the solution neutralizes 30 centimeter cube of the acid. The balanced equation for the reaction is as follows here, with our acid here, and then this here being the base, right? Then 7.3.2 says, is ethanoic acid a weak acid or a strong acid? Give a reason for the answer. Right. So this is conceptual, guys. You just have to know it from your grade 11 that ethanoic acid is always referred to as a weak acid. Now, the reason that you always give to something being a weak acid is the fact that it ionizes partially in water. So you can say it ionizes partially or it ionizes incompletely. So it ionizes partially in water. Okay, now 2 marks for that. So saying that it's a weak acid and giving the reason. Then 7.3.2 says calculate the concentration of the ethanoic acid. When we were reading here, there's a particular keyword that we saw, titrated. Remember I said, once they mention the word titrated or titration, then you have to know the formula that applies is Ca Va over Cb Vb. And then also another confirmation is the fact that they gave you the volume of the base and also the volume of the acid. The only formula that accommodates that is obviously your Cava formula. So Ca Va Cb Vb is equals to Na over Nb, right? So concentration of the acid, that's what we are looking for. So let me indicate 7.3.3. Concentration of the acid we do not have, but then the volume of the acid, we are told it's 30 centimeter cube. Concentration of the base in beaker C, you will remember that when we were doing this one here, pH is equals to negative log H3O plus in the previous question. And then we also did the H3O plus and then multiplied by OH minus is equals to 1 times 10 to the exponent of negative 14. We did end up calculating the concentration of the OH ions, right? So we found that the concentration of the OH minus ions was 0.1 mole per dm cube. So if you can just rewind back to the beginning of this question 7.3.1, you will see that we already calculated the concentration there. So this is the same concentration we'll be using here. So 0.1. Now the volume of the base that neutralizes the acid is only 15. So we put 15 here. Now remember, we've already covered the fact that in this formula, it is not necessary for you to convert your volumes to the decimeter cube. Why? Because eventually the SI units will just cancel out here. And then for Na and Nb, we also did cover that we are not required to calculate the number of moles, but rather we are using the molar ratios. So our coefficients here. Coefficient of an acid is 1. Coefficient of the base is also 1. Right. Then to calculate, cross multiply this one here. Ca is equals to 0.1 multiplied by 15 times 1 is just that. And then if we cross multiply the 1 and the 30, still becomes 30. But then we then need to divide by the 30 there. So when you punch all that into your calculator, you now end up with 0.05 mole per dm cube. Right. And then for 4 marks, you have that. So easy piece. Now, this is how you were supposed to tackle all of this question for a total of 18 marks. So it was a pretty fair question to deal with. Even if you did not end up getting all of this 8 marks, but then just doing a couple of steps there, you can lend yourself about 3 or 4 marks, which is in context to the whole mark of the question here. You can score a pretty much decent marks. Let's say maybe you had scored 4 marks out of this and you were able to get all of these questions here. That's 14 out of 18 decent marks. Remember, every time you're solving questions in an exam, the goal is to score marks. It's never about having to complete the question or being able to answer everything that appears there. But then in every question, just make sure that you can score at least about 60 or 70% of that question, right? So in that way, you are able to score very decent marks in your paper, right? So with all that being said, guys, please press the thumbs up button if you've enjoyed the lesson and then you found it helpful. And if you've been watching the videos and haven't subscribed yet, please hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, please share the link with your friends and classmates so that they may also find assistance. Remember, do not be selfish. We are winning as a team.